Good morning, everybody. I had been told that our lovely intro music was unable to get started today. You know, it's an hour behind, I guess. It forgot to get the catch-up. Anyway, so we are starting. Welcome, welcome, welcome. Love to see all these lovely faces. So good morning, everyone. Welcome to this day at Unitarian Universalist Fellowship. Our opening reading is called Words of Welcome for a Difficult Morning. This was written by Erica Hewitt, but it is very appropriate for our times now. Whether you're here because you're worshiping with us as part of your routine, or whether you feel like our country has been stopped in its tracks and it's impossible to return to normalcy. Amen? Amen. On this morning, we gather to proclaim that we belong to one another and that others belong to us. Broken hearts are welcome here. Anxious spirits are welcome here. Minds worrying faster than a racing engine, uncertain of what to think and keep you up all night long. Stubborn egos that sometimes trip us up and cement us to our opinions. Fragile, shell-shocked souls. They are all welcome here. Yours, mine, and everyone else's. Not because this community can fix it, though, of course, you know, as you use, we try. Though, not that we can fix it through easy solutions or the right way forward, but as a liberal religious congregation, we have something far more fragile and far more powerful than that. Our need to be together. Our need to reconnect to the life-giving source that moves through, within, and among us. And our need to make one another a little bit braver and wiser before returning to the service of our world. You are all welcome here, and I am so glad to see you. My name is Rosanna Alnai, and I am a member of the board here at QUF, as QUUF. As we gather, I acknowledge that the water, land, and shorelines here in Port Townsend are the traditional territory of the Sklallam and Chimacum peoples. We honor and acknowledge our indigenous members and neighbors, and we vow to help restore and sustain these homelands. If you are visiting today, I offer a special welcome for you and invite you to join us for coffee after the service and conversation in the fellowship hall that direction. We also have a newcomers table near the patio doors over here, and there will be greeters there to welcome you, answer any questions, and help you sign up for our email if you'd like. And today we have some announcements. Something about the women's retreat. The hatted ones are here.
I like your hat. Yeah, good. Everybody like my hat? So, Peg, first, do you like my bird?
I like it.
So where's your hat, woman?
Well, actually, I'm a bit frazzled because today is the very last day to sign up for the women's retreat, you women out there. And you and I need to get the word out.
You're right, Peg. The actual deadline was Friday, but the folks at Pilgrim Furs gave us one extra day. So we got till tomorrow to come up with a final number of women who are coming.
Well, I know a few people who are still kind of waffling about going. You went to the retreat last year, right? What did you like about it?
Well, I loved all of it, but my very favorite part was the drum circle. I got to use the drum. It was really cool, and I could make as much noise as I wanted to, and that was great, and I just couldn't stop. And I looked around the room, and I saw women dancing and singing, and it was fun time, and putting all their cares on the back burner, and we got plenty of them. How about you?
Well, it's kind of a toss-up for me. I thought chair yoga in the morning really felt good, getting up, stretching, and getting ready for all the activities of the day. But I have to say the game To Tell the Truth was the best laugh I've had in a while. I mean, people were weeping with laughter. It was so hilarious. Plus, while we were having fun, we learned a lot about each other, and that's really the point. Building community among women, making new connections, and strengthening long-time relationships. What about your least favorite, Kate?
My least favorite, well, that's easy. Just the thought, the mere thought of doing a cold plunge first thing in the morning. However, I know that Terry will lead a great experience for those of you who want to plunge in the lake. Her enthusiasm is contagious.
I have to say, I really loved the fact that I didn't have to think about cooking for the better part of 3 days. The food was delicious, and the cooks made a real effort to meet all our dietary needs. The whole retreat is an opportunity for us as women to relax and just step back from the daily tasks of living.
It's true. So whether you're an extrovert or an introvert, there's something for you. Not into workshops? Well, take a walk in the woods or take a quiet spot and just read a wonderful book or knit or meditate.
And did I mention that you don't have to cook?
I don't have to cook. I never cook.
Then you'll feel right at home. If you want to join us March 21st through 23rd, coming right up for this great retreat, we can help you register today at the table in the fellowship hall right after the service. Thank you, thank you.
And what I did not hear them say, something I did not hear them say, if you would like to go on this retreat, but you feel like you can't afford it, talk to them about scholarships. Scholarships are available for those of you who would really like to go, but you feel like you cannot afford it. All right, further announcements. How many people in here like to do service of any kind to any group? All right. By raising your hand, you just let us know that you're interested in signing up for a position here at QUF. The nominating committee is dedicated by our bylaws to seek candidates to run in competitive elections for upcoming openings. We have 3 congregational committees and the board. The Board of Trustees, Endowments, Nominating. These are elected positions, and we need you to serve. Our minister will be talking to you about stewardship today in some way, and this is another way that you can be stewards of QUF. Currently on the nominating committee are Cher DeWeese, Kate Kinney, Ann Weaver, Gary Forbes, and John Collins, and I encourage you to come to the open house today here in the sanctuary right after service. Go get coffee, come back here. Just by showing up doesn't mean you're doing it. Just come learn what it means, and you may be surprised that it's not awful. It's really not. Service is good. It's full of learning. It's full of learning on so many levels. Some people, we talk to them and go, oh, no, I couldn't do that. No, this is a good thing. Please come, ask questions, learn, and maybe apply for one of these positions. And now, Chris Wilson is going to come talk to us about stewardship.
Good morning, everybody. I'm Chris. The annual stewardship campaign is a time for us to reflect on our commitment to QUF. It's also a time for fun. At the end of the campaign on April 6th, we'll celebrate with the Brunchapalooza after the Sunday service. We'll feast, we'll frolic, and enjoy fresh baked goods with gluten-free options, eggs, vegetarian and vegan casseroles, macaroni and cheese, yum, and fresh fruit galore. How can you get involved? Well, there is a grand bulletin board by the office filled with lots of tasks, large and small. We're asking those who can to sign up. Please mark your calendars for April 6th. For when was that again? April 6th. Good for you. We'll celebrate, feast, and turn in our pledge forms to support our beloved QUUF. Thank you.
So you have a lot to think about, macaroni and cheese. So now let's everyone take a nice deep breath. And out. Let's settle our minds and prepare.
We are marching in the light of God. 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 We are marching, marching, we are marching, marching, we are marching in the light of God. We are marching, marching, we are marching, marching, we are marching in the light of God. Siyahamba tukan yan cuerpos, Siyahamba tukan yan cuerpos, Siyahamba tukan yan cuerpos, Siyahamba tukan yan cuerpos, Siyahamba, hamba, Siyahamba, hamba, Siyahamba tukan yan cuerpos, Siyahamba, hamba, Siyahamba, hamba, Siyahamba tukan yan cuerpos.
I'll note that I did see someone dancing. Not nearly enough of you. Good morning. Our opening words are by Sharon Wiley. It is okay to be tired of change. It is okay to be tired of everything different. Okay to feel weary of resiliency and wholeness and learning and growth. It is okay to yearn simply to rest. It is okay to be grouchy and unsatisfied. And all the ordinary human ways of being that we are. Let this reminder be for this morning that you are loved. Let our time together soothe whatever is restless in you. May you be comforted in knowing that whatever you are feeling today and other days, you are not alone. You are never alone. Come, let us join together in worship. Will you join me, please, in the words for the lighting of our chalice? We light our chalice as a symbol of the light within us and the life that flows around us. It is our beacon as we search for truth. It is the warmth in our hearts for love and the energy that propels us to action. May we be kindled by our time together. Our opening song this morning is number 354, We Laugh, We Cry.
We laugh, we cry, we
right, it is the time for all ages, so children, adults, childlike, childish, whomever, come, whoever you are. It's nice to see y'all this morning. I appreciate your patience while the adults talk. I have kind of a long story this morning, but I was really excited to find it for us. It's called Just Help, and it was written by one of our Supreme Court justices, the Honorable Sonia Sotomayor. Yeah, I know, isn't that awesome? Did you know she'd written a children's book? I am so chuffed. I mean, chuffed. Do you all know chuffed? British word means excited, but it's just fun to say. I'm chuffed. So here's our story for today. Each day when Sonia woke up, her mother asked her a question. How will you help today? Does anyone ask that question in the mornings? I'm just curious. I don't, but I may take it up as a practice. Mammy was a nurse who helped people at a hospital every day. Sonia wanted to help too, so each morning, Sonia set about to have a good answer for Mammy's question. One morning, Sonia knew just how she was going to help that day. She filled 2 shopping bags with candy bars, warm socks, nice soaps, sunglasses, pens, and notepads. When Sonia boarded the school bus, the driver helped her carry her bags up the steps. "What is this?" she asked Sonia. "We're sending care packages to American soldiers overseas," Sonia said. When Sonia got on the bus, not one seat was free. She didn't know what to do. Then Booker and Sky waved to her. "You can sit with us," they said, squeezing together to make room for Sonia. "Thank you," Sonia said. At school, Booker, Sky, and Sonia emptied their bags onto a table in the gym. Many kids had shown up to help. For this service project, the kids sorted and packed the treats in boxes that the postal workers would pick up later in the day. Kylie was extra happy to help. Her mom was a soldier in the army, stationed far away. Kylie missed her every day, but it made her smile to think of her mom opening one of these packages. Brooklyn loved underwater animals. She was upset when she learned that plastic bags humans dumped into the ocean made the sea turtles sick. When she read about a worldwide campaign to save the sea turtles, Brooklyn joined in to help. She started a recycling program at school just for plastic bags. After the service project in the gym, she had a lot more bags to add to the new recycling bins. After school, Gabriella and her brother Lucas went to the playground. There was trash everywhere. Gabriella thought about the recycling bins. "Let's make today a park cleanup day," Gabriella suggested to the other kids. They all agreed to help. Afterwards, Lucas took a piece of chalk and wrote in big letters on the ground, "Keep our park clean. Please do not litter." Right? No littering. When Jasper got home that day, he saw that his room was a mess, just like the park had been. As he cleaned up, he found brand new toys that he had never used. Jasper decided to donate them to the Children's Hospital. Jasper remembered that when he was a patient there, he always felt better when the nurses brought him to the playroom. He wanted to help the kids who were there now. He brought the new toys next door to Maya because her dad worked as a janitor at the hospital and he could take the toys for the playroom. Jasper's kindness reminded Maya that she had something special to give away too. She picked out her favorite shirt from her clothes drawer. Maya loved it, but she knew someone who would love it more, especially today, her friend Simone.
Simone is one of my friends.
You have a friend named Simone? Awesome. I wonder if she has a special shirt. Simone stood on the street corner with her dad and her brother Miles. It was election day, and they were campaigning for their favorite candidate for city council, who promised to build more schools and playgrounds. When Maya gave Simone the shirt, Simone was thrilled. "It's just like a sparkly American flag. Thank you," Simone said, and she put it on over the shirt she was already wearing. Simone and Miles were handing out flyers to everyone who passed by, including Samir and his mother. "Mommy, it's election day. Did you vote yet?" Samir asked. "No, I forgot," his mom said. "Let's go vote," Samir said. "My teacher said your vote is your voice in the community." Samir wanted his mom to use it. The voting booths were set up in the senior center. As Samir and his mom waited to vote, they saw Kamal pushing John in a wheelchair. Kamal was there to help John vote. John lived alone, and twice a week, Kamal spent the afternoon at the senior center visiting John and sharing snacks. "Promise me when you're 18 you'll vote," John said as he stuck his "I voted" sticker on Kamal's shirt. "When I was young, I was part of a great struggle to get the right to vote. Now I never miss the chance." "I promise," Kamal said. Later that evening, Sonia climbed into bed and asked her mother, and her mother asked her, "Sonia, how did you help today?" Sonia thought about the service project for the soldiers, recycling the plastic bags, cleaning up the playground, and voting with Mommy. But she also remembered the bus driver who brought her to school safely, the postal workers who delivered the packages to the soldiers, the poll workers who guided the voters, and her friends who helped in big and small ways. "We all helped each other today," Sonia said. As Sonia closed her eyes, she imagined everything she did was like the yarn in the blanket her grandmother had made for her. It tied Sonia to everyone around her, even people she did not know, each one inspiring the next, knitting together a community that was safer, cleaner, wiser, healthier, and kinder. Like Sonia, her friends and her neighbors, when we all do our part, we all can have a good answer to Mommy's question, what will you help today? How will you help today? So that's the story for today. I love the way that everybody found a way to do something. So let's be thinking, all of us, about how we will help today. And now I'd invite the adults along the aisle to rise and form an arch, and let's sing our children out to their classes. Thank you for listening today.
Go now in peace, go now in peace. May our spirit of love surround you everywhere, everywhere you may go. Go now in peace, go now in peace. May our spirit of love surround you everywhere, everywhere you may go.
Now is our time to pause for some generosity and to receive an offering, which today goes to the Welcoming Center. Julia Cochran has come and will tell us a little bit about it. Thank you.
Hi, my name's Julia Cochran, and among other things, I'm the volunteer executive director of the Winter Welcoming Center. Many of you have heard me talk about this small nonprofit I founded 7 years ago. Any of you who've talked to me have heard me talk about it. That provides a warm, safe place for the unsheltered and sheltered to spend 4 more hours every day during our 5-month season, November to April. As I was contemplating what to say about what is happening right now and in the immediate future, the story of the little engine that could came to mind. The Winter Welcoming Center is that small engine, chugging up a hill in so many ways. At this time, we are the only entity providing laundry vouchers to all unsheltered people who need them. It costs about $10 per load for wash, dry, and soap at Mom's Laundry. When unsheltered people cannot clean and dry their belongings that get wet in our often damp environment, then these items become garbage and often litter our landscape because there isn't even somewhere free to dispose of them. We're trying to change this. This summer, on June 30th, the American Legion shelter will close permanently. There are plans to shelter some at Caswell Brown on Mill Road, but the instability of federal funding has its impacts, and they're unknown. I am working towards a concept called Urban Rest Stop, a place where people can get a shower, do laundry, find a bite to eat, clean clothes, electricity to charge devices, and get information about other forms of assistance. We see this being staffed by the Welcoming Center in a more appropriate location such as Mountain View or the now empty Yacht Club. Wherever, by July 1st, the little engine that could will find a new home and a renewed purpose. Please help us get there. And one last request. As some of you know, QUF has been feeding people at the shelter for 5 days a week, once a month, since September. This month's week is March 24th through the 28th. We need teams of people willing to cook and willing to serve. There's a sign-up and information on the table outside the sanctuary and online with a link in the Friday update. Please join us and contribute not just your money, but your time. Thanks.
Now the ushers will come among you to receive the offering, and additional ways of giving will be projected. Please join me in our offering words. This fellowship is the community of ourselves. We are our energy and resources. Its wealth is what we share. As we contribute to the life of this community, we affirm our lives within it.
We're gonna keep on moving forward. Keep on moving forward. Keep on moving forward. Never turning back. Never turning back. We're gonna keep on singing loudly. Keep on singing loudly. Keep on singing loudly. Never turning back. Never turning back. We're gonna keep on loving boldly. Keep on loving boldly. Keep on loving boldly. Never turning back. Never turning back. We're gonna work for change together. Work for change together. Work for change together. Never turning back. Never turning back.
When Emma's Revolution does that song, which I love, thank you, Pat, for programming this in. They do it, they start with this lovely slow, and then they do this bump, 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 and I was just waiting for that to happen. So I'm a little, anyhow. You know how it goes some Sundays. We set aside time every week to share the joys and sorrows of our lives. We know that our personal joys and sorrows are only a fragment of the joys and sorrows of the larger community of life. So we place this first stone today, thinking in particular of the Reverend James Reeb, the Unitarian Universalist minister who was attacked on March 8th in Selma, Alabama, 1965. He died 3 days later. His death drew hundreds to the march from Selma to Montgomery, ultimately winning the right to vote for Black people in that state. Within the congregation, Jess Schumacher shares her great joy that her son and his fiancée and their adorable, nearly 2-year-old son are visiting this week from Vermont. What a joy. And we place a final stone, holding in our hearts these joys and sorrows, but also thinking of those joys and sorrows among us that are unexpressed, but of no less importance. Thank you, Susan. Now let's come into a time of stillness, of quiet, of meditation, prayer, whatever is most your custom. Take a moment for a deep breath and settle in. We'll begin with words by Nikita Gill, and then have a time of stillness together. These words: the rage you are feeling comes from the same place inside your heart as the love. This is why you refuse to accept a world where cruelty reigns and the fire consumes all. You have known hope and joy and kindness like you have known water. And justice is a river that demands that you do not give up on it. Let us pause in stillness together. Our first reading today comes from one of my favorite poets, Marge Piercy, her work, The Low Road. What can they do to you? Whatever they want. They can set you up, they can bust you, they can break your fingers, they can burn your brain with electricity, blur you with drugs until you can't walk, can't remember. They can take your child, wall up your lover. They can do anything you can't stop them from doing. How can you stop them? Alone, you can fight, you can refuse, you can take what revenge you can, but they roll over you. But two people, fighting back to back, can cut through a mob, a snake dancing file can break a cordon, an army can meet an army. Two people can keep each other sane, give each other support, conviction, love, massage, hope. Three people are a delegation, a committee, a wedge. With four, you can play bridge and start an organization. With six, you can rent a whole house, eat pie for dinner with no seconds, and hold a fundraising party. A dozen make a demonstration, 100 fill a hall, 1,000 have solidarity and your own newsletter, 10,000 power and your own paper, 100,000 your own media, 10 million your own country. It goes one at a time. It starts when you care to act, it starts when you care to act. It starts when you do it again and they said no. It starts when you say we and know who you mean, and each day you mean one more.
Second reading is from a book called The Irony of American History by Reinhold Niebuhr. Nothing that is worth doing can be achieved in our lifetime. Therefore, we must be saved by hope. Nothing which is true or beautiful or good makes complete sense in any immediate context of history. Therefore, we must be saved by faith. Nothing we do, however virtuous, can be accomplished alone. Therefore, we must be saved by love. No virtuous act is quite as virtuous from the standpoint of our friend or foe as it is from our standpoint. Therefore, we must be saved by the final form of love, which is forgiveness.
two notes before I begin my sermon. One is to say that the cartoon by, I think it's a Calvin and Hobbes cartoon, in which Calvin is walking to school thinking to himself, I'm so happy with my report on Venezuela. I'm really glad. I'm so excited to give it. And then he's in his classroom and his teacher says, now Calvin will come up and give us his report on Brazil. And Calvin goes to the front and he says, Brazil, a country very much like Venezuela, which has, and continues on. And you know, some Sundays are like that. Just let me note, for no particular reason, that some Sundays are like that. The other note is to say that I cannot do a stewardship sermon, which this is, as we start our stewardship, as we continue our stewardship drive. Right, Robin? Continue, because we're always doing stewardship. This is just our particular time to do it. As we start our stewardship drive, that I need to just note that this is my sermon on the amount. I am required to say it every year, just letting you know. So, here we go. 10 years ago, on Friday, I joined with an estimated 70,000 people to walk across the Edmund Pettus Bridge in Selma, Alabama. It was the 50th anniversary of the events that led to the historic march from Selma to Montgomery, advocating for voting rights for Black people. The Black community in Alabama had been working to gain their voting rights for months, with protests as police violence escalated against them. In late February of 1965, a young Black man, Jimmy Lee Jackson, had been killed after fleeing officers in the midst of their protests. As he tried to protect his mother from the blows of their batons, he was mortally wounded. He died shortly thereafter. A call went out for people, and especially clergy, to come to Selma to support the ongoing protests. On March 7th, a group of marchers attempted to cross the bridge and were met on the other side by police officers on horses and on foot, who brutally beat them. The event, as many of you know, I'm sure, became known as Bloody Sunday. A second march was begun, but meeting police at the other side of the bridge, the marchers simply took to their knees and prayed and turned back. Now, one of the things that I learned when I went down to Alabama for that anniversary, we had a conference for Unitarian Universalists prior to that. And one of the things I learned at that conference was that when Martin Luther King Jr. was in Boston earning his PhD, he had built community with ministers in that area. So when the call went out for ministers to come, King actually was reaching out to people he knew in the communities in the North, including the Unitarian Universalist ministers he knew in the Boston area. Though I had known about Jim Reeb, the Reverend Jim Reeb, who was one of those ministers from Boston, I did not know until that conference that King had actually, part of what created that movement and supported it was the relationships that had been built there. So the story continues on. After they had tried again to go across the bridge, Reverend Jim Reeb, and his two companions left an integrated diner and headed to where they were staying, and they were set upon by several white men with clubs. And the first blow struck to Jim was likely the fatal one. His companions tried to cover him, but they were not able to stop the blows. He was mortally wounded and turned away from the hospital in Selma. Eventually, some days later, he died in a hospital in Birmingham. The march that finally set off to Montgomery began with somewhere around 300 people, and it surged to 25,000 on the final day as they ended at the steps of the Alabama State House in Montgomery. This is where King offered his "How long? Too long" speech. Another Unitarian Universalist, I'll just note, who had answered the call to come to Selma was Viola Luiso, a white woman from Detroit who had come to support voting rights. After that rally had ended, she was taking some of the black marchers back to Selma, and she was shot as she drove by members of the Klan. There is a marker at the place where she died on the highway between Montgomery and Selma. I'll note, I just learned this week, the FBI actually had an informant in that car, and they continued to spread lies about her, that she was a member of the Communist Party and that she had left her 5 children in Detroit, where she had come from, in order to have sex with black men in the South. It would be months before Lyndon Johnson signed the Voting Rights Act into law, and it is a travesty that we continue to have to fight for voting rights these 60 years later. Now, as I mentioned earlier, this may seem a very strange way to begin a sermon that is intended to get everyone excited about our annual stewardship drive. But it's not as odd as you might think. See, the reminder of what our joined power can do aligns beautifully with what we enable when we offer our resources to the life of this fellowship. And don't we need to be reminded of our joined power in these days? Don't we need each other more as the political world careens out of control day after day after day? Don't we need to feel our joined strength? Don't we need the love that is at the center of our Unitarian Universalist faith? Can you say yes? Yes. Thank you very much. Marge Piercy's poem that we heard this morning is a great call to that community. She says, they can do anything you can't stop them from doing. How can you stop them? Alone you can fight, you can refuse, you can take what revenge you can, but they roll over you. And who isn't feeling a little powerless these days as we watch the dismantling of the democracy that has never been perfect, let us admit, but has been pretty good and can always be better. And we have changed it in the past, never alone, but always with companions who have led us, who have worked aside us, enabled us to make a change in the world. What was it that Margaret Mead said? Never doubt what a small group of thoughtful, committed citizens can change the world. Never doubt that a small group of thoughtful, committed citizens can change the world. Indeed, it is the only thing that ever has. I fear that we too often forget the necessity and power of community in these days. The pandemic sent us scrambling into our safety zones, cooped up in our houses, separated from the people we loved, separated from our communities of care and action, afraid of the air we breathed. And all these years later, I think we're still finding our way back. Marge Piercy reminds us it goes one at a time. It starts when you care to act. It starts when you do it again, when they say no. It starts when you say we and know who you mean, and every day you mean one more. There's a power a power in our coming together and being together. It's not just the goodness of human connection with one another, though if that's what brings you here, that is absolutely enough. We need to feel each other's presence, the goodness of our joined laughter, the moments of our breath taken together. We need others to bear witness to the joys and terrors of our lives and rest in stillness together as we clear out our minds and enter into the present moment. A few weeks ago, my colleague Mike Walker spoke about theologian Reinhold Niebuhr, author of the Serenity Prayer and a major figure in mid-20th century religious thought. His words that Susan shared help to remind us of the necessity of hope and faith and love and forgiveness, all of which are gifts of community. Hope reminds us that the most important work stretches beyond our lifetimes. I am ever inspired by those from whom I have picked up the work of making the world more just and loving, and trust that my life is adding to their work. Faith tells us that the good we lean our lives into is never lost. Its meaning will only be known when future generations look back. Love reminds us that we need each other, that what is most important requires that we work together. And the love that is embodied in forgiveness is necessary, for we all fall short, we all fail, we all act without mindfulness of others, and we all need forgiveness, sometimes more than we might imagine. This is all to say what most of you know already, that there is a power in community, and that power arises from what we are able to do and be together. It relies on the myriad gifts that we bring, our time and our talents, our shining love, our presence, our care, our resources. As these next few weeks pass and our stewardship team reaches out to you, I encourage you to give as you are best inspired to give. This place, this building, this land is here to sustain our community, to be a resource for us and for the wider world. These people are members and friends and companions in our clumsy human ways, join to make a better world by nurturing each other, by nurturing our children. And the love between us and around us, and that we beam out into the world, is our best hope for creating the world that we dream of, a world of peace and of plenty and of justice. I want to close by inviting you to share with me in a litany written by my colleague Denise Cawley. Some of you will remember her. She preached here a while ago. She notes that the Reverend Jim Reeb was known for saying, "When people of diverse backgrounds and ideologies come together, what was impossible becomes possible." She invites us into imagining a world that is shaped by the values that drew him to Selma and that call to us in this day and time. I'll say a line and you respond, "I couldn't just stand by." All right, you got that? What's your part? I couldn't just stand by. This is our prayer and commitment.
I couldn't just stand by.
When I saw books being banned,
I couldn't just stand by.
when I saw our voting rights being suppressed,
I couldn't just stand by.
when I saw our rights to safe legal abortions going away,
I couldn't just stand by.
when I saw less and less affordable housing for families,
I couldn't just stand by.
When I saw my black and brown neighbors being pulled over and jailed. When I saw my planet being destroyed and my water being poisoned. When I saw my immigrant neighbor being taken away from their family. When I saw people's ability to make a living wage taken away. When I saw the right for basic health care become a profit-driven industry. When I saw children unable to go to school safely and mass shootings becoming daily occurrences. I knew I couldn't do it alone. I knew I needed my community, my family, my congregation. I knew I needed all of you to stand by me too. May it be so for us all in these days. Amen. Our last song is number 1017 in the Teal Book, if you want to follow along, Building a New Way. Please rise. Our closing words by Kathy Huff. Our time in this place may have ended, but our connection to each other and this community remains. Together may we walk in the path of justice, speak the words of love, live the selfless deed, trod gently upon the earth, and fill the world with compassion. So may it be until we are together again. Amen, and blessed be. Oh, we have to extinguish the flame. And Susan's on her way. Please join me in our chalice extinguishing words. We extinguish our flame, but not the light of truth, the warmth of community, the fire of commitment, the power of transformation. These we carry in our hearts until we are together again.
Oh, they tell me of a home far beyond the skies. Oh, they tell me of a home tell me of a home where my friends have gone. Oh, they tell me of that land far away, where the tree of life in eternal bloom sheds the fragrance in the unclouded day. Oh, the land of cloudless day. Oh, the land of an unclouded day. Oh, they tell me of a home where the storm clouds rise. Oh, they tell me of an unclouded day. Oh, they tell me that he smiles on his children there, and his smile